Hello, my name is Ilyas Ali, and I'm here representing the Learning to Live family for today's video. You may be wondering why I'm doing this video solo, and there's a reason for that. It is because I want to be sending a message to parents directly and personally. Well, to start, I am, as you know, a part of the Learning to Live family. I'm a teenager, so a younger side, and with that means I'm a gamer typically. And through that, I get to contact with a lot of other kids, like-minded or not, who also play games. And I get to talk to them like on a daily basis, almost. And there's one thought or idea or problem that is reoccurring throughout like all my voice calls or messages or just talks in general, and it's fear and anxiety, especially in modern day. And it's a really big problem that's going around right now, and it could be coming from anywhere. It could be coming from the current COVID-19 pandemic that is going around the world, and that is especially hitting America pretty hard. There is economically, we've had a couple of crashes. People say we're in a recession right about now, and then there's also just politically, upcoming elections coming up, and then there's the school as well. New school year has just started. Some people may be trying out online for the first time. Some people may be going back to school for a first time in a while due to COVID-19. Or maybe they could be just going to a different state. They could be living in, California, and then maybe they're going to Montana. And naturally, all of this is creating a perfect storm for fear and anxiety to be ruling these like kids' brains. And it's an ongoing topic for a reason. And I want to be talking today to the parents to see and to help you with 5 tips on how you can potentially help your kids with this ongoing issue that's happening. And for starters, you just gotta have compassion. You just gotta show your kids that you love them. Because some kids that I talk to, they feel like, all this stuff is going on, and then my parents don't really care. You have to be there for your kids. You have to have that warm embrace. You have that warm hug. Compliments here and there, of course, they're always great. I know that from personal experience. It always makes me feel great. I know it sounds cliche, but it's the truth, and it's the truth for a lot of other kids too, I know. And parents, like, some parents slack on that. I'm not saying that you guys do, but I'm saying it's an amazing skill to have as a parent, and right about now, it's very crucial to have for these kids that are going through, who knows. And with that, you may think, oh, I have to be choking my kid almost with love. I have to be like there 24/7, just like there. Oh, I love you. That's not quite it either. And that comes into my second point of respect. You have to respect your kids' boundaries, and because we're growing into like adults. Like even if you're 13, you're starting your trip into adolescence. And I myself, I'm almost an adult, and I know that I definitely need my own space, especially in this time to, like think things over, think my next move in life, or maybe just chill. And I know that like if my parents were super overbearing and they were just like there 24/7, like, oh, how's it going, Ilyas? I would have been like, I'd still love them regardless. But you definitely need to respect your kids' boundaries in this time. And respect doesn't necessarily just mean respecting their boundaries. It just means respecting their ideas. You have to be open to their ideas because they're, as I said, they're going into adults. They're becoming like actual like on your level. You should always think that they're on your level, of course, because you'd have a difficult power dynamic going on in your life, but you have to be respecting their ideas because they're becoming adults. They have rational thought. You have to be open. And you just have to respect them. You have to show them respect too. You can't just like be silent like respecting. You have to also be telling them that consistently, like, we're respecting you, like we're always here to open to your ideas, always please come and talk to us. And like you have to be open to maybe getting new ideas, like maybe your kids are smarter than you in some areas, and you have to respect that. Acceptance is another thing that is really key for parents to have with, say, these new ideas, for example, that may have came in quarantine, or maybe just been brewing for a while even before then, and they come to you with these ideas. You have to be accepting of it, and maybe accepting it into your own mindset as well, or maybe just accepting, like a new way like of life. For example, like you could be just in college, and maybe you want to switch your major, for example, right? And then you have to, as parents, you have to be having a safe environment for your parents to just come to, for your kids, sorry, to come to you and just say, hey, this is the deal, this is the way I want to go. And as I said earlier, you have to respect that. You also have to accept it as well, because you have to respect them as human beings, And with these talks that you have with your kids, and where you're respecting their ideas, or you're accepting them as well, and of course showing your love as well, you have to be available for them, because I know a lot of kids that are sort of grown now as well. They're wishing that their parents were there for them more, and that's the big thing, at least in my life, that I'm like recalling back with my parents. The thing that I'm remembering most is that my parents were there for me. Like, of course, they always had like amazing ideas. I mean, sometimes we're human, but the fact that they're always there for me is a sticking point, and that's also goes into like the loving part as well. You have to love them enough to be there for them, and you have to let them know that you're being there for them. Of course, that goes into respect as well. You have to respect their boundaries. You can't be overbearing, like on them like a hawk 24/7, but you have to, be available. Like, say, hey, let's have a movie night tonight, like let's just do something fun. Because it doesn't really have to just be talks. It could just be like having fun. Me and my family are doing that Marvel like movie night each week, which has been postponed this week, and that's just been a really good experience for like all of us, because we're just having fun. We're just being available. We're just hanging out, and that's a really big thing for families to do, just to like get your mind off things, especially as your kid's growing, with these fears and anxieties. It's really big for your parents to just be available for talks, or just to hang out, And of course, you have to respect their boundaries as well, as I said earlier. So the final thing that I do want to mention is being in touch with what's going on, because I say to be open and to be available to new things, new ideas, new conversations, right, with your kids. But you can't really do that unless you're in touch with what's going on in their life, or maybe the current climate that's going on with maybe politics or economics, or the current pandemic that's going on. You have to be in touch with that, and especially because some of this stuff is something that you may not even have personal experience with beforehand, in like the 90s or the 80s, because we haven't really had a pandemic like this since the bubonic plague. It's been pretty big, so you have to be in touch with what's going on. You have to be in the know, and with, of course, in your kid's life too. Of course, don't be overbearing. I can't stress that enough, because I mean, as kids, we got to have our own space, but you have to be like knowledgeable, because you can't be going into the conversations trying to have like an intellectual conversation and then expect your kids to just carry the conversation. You have to be on equal footing, you have to be educated, conventional or unconventional, with like unconventionally means like, with the current political climate, like you could bring your own point of view into it as well. And maybe your kid can learn from that as well, or maybe your kid can, bring their point of view and you can learn from that as well. And those are really important to have as parents, especially right about now. And that about does it. Those 5 tips are really key. I'm really thankful that my parents carry those for the most part in our lives. And even if they don't in some areas, I mean, hey, we're learning. As our lives going on, we're learning to live. I gotcha. But yeah, that about does it. I really appreciate you guys for tuning in. Really appreciate the views that we've been getting really recently. We've been doing pretty good. So we really appreciate that. We're gonna keep the content coming. So hopefully you guys stick around, And rest in peace, Chadwick Boseman. Rest in power, King. We love you. You've been super strong throughout your life. We miss you. And thank you for everything that you've done. Thank you.